Welcome back to Digital Talks. I'm your host, Tommy. Today we will be exploring something very interesting. First, let us welcome our guest speaker, Cassandra. Hey Cassandra, so describe to us on what you will be sharing today.
Hi Tommy, today I will be conducting an experiment on the relationship between sound and emotion. And hopefully at the end of this, it will inspire everyone here to think more critically about sound.
That sounds really deep. Tell us more about this experiment, please.
Haha, yes it is. Well, my experiment is based on Luigi Russello's manuscript on the art of noise. Russello argues that the traditional, orchestral sounds of music are too limited for the modern world, as they don't fully capture the variety of sounds or noises we could say in the contemporary world. The world is filled with machinery, nature, life, and there are sounds produced by all of them that are not necessarily displeasing to the ear.
Wow, that is an interesting perspective. How are you using that concept to relate to emotion?
Well, I feel that these so-called real sounds or noise can invoke a more raw and instinctual response compared to those with harmony or melody. Hence, I created this experiment for people to self-reflect and tap into their emotions, and to really think more in depth about how everyday noises could affect us without us realizing.
Amazing. Could you give us a glimpse into your experiment?
Definitely. So I have prepared 2 short audio tracks that contains noises from our environment. The first one is created by noises of a city, and I would like everyone to listen and really pay attention to your emotions or thoughts. So, how did that feel, Tommy?
The sound made me feel really anxious. Maybe because it reminded me of when I used to work in a corporate environment in the city, and it was really stressful to commute in the morning due to the peak hours.
That is an excellent reflection. So what I felt from listening to this was nostalgia. This is because I used to live in the city when I was a kid and I was used to all these sounds. But I moved to the countryside when I was 12 and my world became a lot more quiet.
Oh, I see. It is interesting how these noises could ignite different feelings. I mean, I never even thought that much about these everyday noises before.
Yup, it is really interesting. Now this second audio track is created by noises in nature.
Okay, now this one I feel very relaxed. It reminds me of the lush forests and beautiful Mother Nature. I imagine warm sunlight bursting through the trees, and it kind of reminds of yoga.
I love that. I personally have an intense fear of birds, so I definitely do not feel positively of this track.
Haha, that is valid. I wonder what do our audience feel. Anyway, thanks for joining us today, Cassandra.
Most welcome, Tommy. I hope everyone managed to take away something from this experiment. It was a real pleasure.
Hi, thank you for participating in my short experiment. This idea was inspired by Russello's The Art of Noises and Dr. Diana Chester's podcast lecture. Russello's perspective on sound shifted how we view it, allowing us to expand our vocabulary of sound to include noises, and not just sounds which are pleasing, like music. This inspired me to think more about everyday noises that I consume. Like Dr. Diana Chester introduced in her lecture, our ears are untrained to noise. Perhaps it is due to how prevalent certain sounds are in our lives. For example, the 2 audio tracks I shared earlier, we fail to observe how these sounds are a reflection of our experience and lives. Diana also mentioned that sound contributes to a sense of identity. This can be observed from Tommy's sharing about the sounds of the city. It invoked his memories and emotions. Noise is essentially central in shaping our daily experiences. Before I leave, I'd like to acknowledge the tools I used for this assignment. I created the video using Animaker AI, which allowed me to animate avatars and add voiceovers for a podcast-style interaction. For the audio, I used copyright-free tracks from Freesound to provide everyday sounds we often overlook. I used ChatGPT to help summarize excerpts from Russello's manuscript for clarity. Lastly, here are my sources.